the time you watch this program, Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, would have spent 2 out of his second 4-year term of office. His inauguration on May 29, 2019 marked not only the end of an era and the beginning of new political dispensation, but also a significant transition from the change agenda to the next level enterprise. The inaugural ceremony was a low-key affair, and therefore President Muhammadu Buhari chose the June 12 Democracy Day to give insights into what Nigerians should expect following the renewal of his mandate.
This country, our country, has everything we require to make Nigeria prosper. I invite you to join me in this journey of rebuilding our nation. Our focus will not be to help the privileged few, but to ensure that Nigeria works for Nigerians of all persuasions. We can do it.
His optimism about the future of Nigeria remains unshaken, and as well-meaning Nigerians posit, none but the most partisan will dispute the fact that the Buhari presidency made significant progress in addressing Nigeria's fundamental challenges of security, economy, and corruption in the first 4-year term of office. The last 2 years could have been a perfect period of not only consolidating the achievements recorded, but also correcting the lapses inevitable in human endeavors towards maintaining the nation's upward trajectory for a prosperous future. This was, however, slowed down as Nigeria is more than ever challenged with the outbreak of the COVID-19 global pandemic.
It came with a very disruptive tendency. Virtually every economy went into recession. Some are still in recession. It has disrupted governance processes. It has shown the weaknesses that we have in terms of inclusivity and providing for the weak, the vulnerable, and the poor.
The prevailing challenges notwithstanding, the Buhari presidency neither shirked its responsibility nor lost strength or momentum in the implementation of its people-centered policies and programs. With the desired leadership, guidance, and direction provided by President Muhammadu Buhari, appropriate actions have been galvanized towards addressing the nation's fundamental public concerns and developmental challenges with a next-level agenda as a critical pathway.
I believe strongly that we are on course, and we've gone 2 years, though, like I said, the 2 years have been very, very tough and challenging. But I believe now that these things are easing up. Coronavirus is, we are getting not to the end of it, but we've been able to tame it substantially. And if the trajectory and with all the policies that are being put in place, the central bank is infusing a lot of money into agriculture and mining, you can begin to see the rebirth of the pyramids, groundnut pyramids. Now you have even rice pyramids coming on. I believe that we will substantially be able to achieve sustainable growth. It's not just growing the economy, but let it be a sustainable growth. And let there be a reflection of that growth and prosperity in the daily earnings and uptakes of the people of the nation.
Diversifying Nigeria's economy is a fundamental pillar of the Buhari presidency towards achieving sustainable future for the country. Critical policy decisions were taken towards maintaining macroeconomic stability and placing Nigeria on the path of sustainable inclusion and growth. As a result, Nigeria exited its second recession faster than expected and maintained an upward trajectory towards achieving a greater future through pragmatic implementation of policies and programs.
Having recovered from recession, we're expecting growth to inch up, and we hope that by the end of 2021, we will have a minimum of 1.9% growth, and if we are able to push things further, this growth could go to as far as 2.2%. So these are measures that we have taken that didn't come overnight but came out of a period of a few years of planning and working towards this particular state. One of the measures that have been taken is the setting up of this 1 trillion naira infrastructure company. We call it the InfraCo. It's been approved by the president. The InfraCo will finance public sector asset development, rehabilitation, as well as reconstruction. They will also be able to invest in cutting-edge infrastructure in roads, rail, power, and other key infrastructures across the country.
Reforms in the ICT sector without doubt played and continue to play significant roles at enhancing the nation's economy. In the last 2 years, several digital economic policies and projects were unveiled towards the realization of digital Nigeria, boosting the economy and supporting efforts at lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty.
In the last quarter of 2020, the ICT sector grew by 14.70%. The growth rate of the sector is more than any other sector of our economy. It is indeed more than 4 times the second most performing sector of the economy. From January to December 2020, ICT sector grew by 12.90%, more than 4 times the second most performing sector. This is to show to His Excellency that the directives, support, encouragement, and the general supervision we have been receiving from His Excellency Mr. President have been yielding a positive result.
The Buhari presidency also championed various schemes towards supporting farmers and agriculture in furtherance of efforts at diversifying the economy. These include the Anchor Borrowers Program of the Central Bank of Nigeria, as well as the Presidential Task Force on Rice, thereby not only unlocking the potentials of the rice subsector of Nigeria's agroeconomy, but virtually achieving the desired sufficiency and security in food.
All courtesy of President Muhammadu Buhari and the CBN governor.
As a country, our desire to produce what we eat and consume what we produce is not limited to the literal meaning.
Nigeria is also on the path of becoming a regional and global fertilizer powerhouse. A new basic chemicals platform for the production of fertilizers worth $1.3 billion is to be inaugurated in the coming months. The plant, a product of an agreement between Nigeria and Morocco, will produce ammonia, phosphoric and sulfuric acid, as well as various NPK fertilizers to complement the existing Dangote and Indorama chemicals facilities.
As we have seen from Nigeria's 5-year fertilizer revolution, if investors are willing to endure the short-term start-up pains, they will surely benefit from long-term sustainable and substantial gains.
Records show that from 3 blending plants operating at 40% capacity in 2016, Nigeria now has 44 blending plants, most of which operating at full capacity, and 60% of raw materials used in fertilizer production is sourced locally. In fact, from being an unbankable sector on the verge of bankruptcy, producers of fertilizer in the last 5 months alone have been able to raise bank guarantees to a tune of about 100 billion naira. The Buhari administration also during the period resuscitated the National Agricultural Land Development Authority NALDA after 20 years in limbo. Consequently, the National Young Farmer Scheme, one of the several programs of the authority, has been launched to engage 1,000 farmers from each of the 774 local government areas of the country, thereby creating 774,000 direct employment annually.
It is my expectation that the scheme will take in young Nigerian graduates and non-graduates alike and be part of this government's effort to reduce unemployment and contribute to the regeneration of agriculture and our economy.
I sincerely assure you, Mr. President, that now that under your watch will achieve food security, job and wealth creation in our country.
This sector is therefore the game changer to our economy, to our political stability, and to our security, Your Excellency. And I want to promise you once again that we'll continue to give you the kind of support that you need on such programs until we take Nigeria to the next level.
Significant achievements have also been recorded in the petroleum subsector in the last 2 years, with Nigeria being steered incrementally away from oil to gas, where the future of the country lies.
One of those things we've achieved is the FID on Train 7, something that has defied previous administrations. We're able to take FID on Train 7, which is over $10 billion. We are also able to take FID on the AKK. AKK is already ongoing. It's a project that will really enable a lot of economic growth in the country. It's going to take gas across, it's like a backbone across Nigeria, so that it will actually encourage investments along the line of the AKK all through the country. So it is a project that is good for both producers and consumers. Generally, on the whole, what I'm really proudest of is our focus on gas. Because as a country, before now we had focused exclusively, almost exclusively, on the development of oil. But now we are shifting that focus to gas, and I'm very proud of that.
Already 2021 to 2030 has been declared a decade of gas, and with the AKK gas pipeline project, the national and domestic gas expansion programs, amongst others, Nigeria is indeed on the right course.
We are very mindful of the fact that we don't have too much time. So for us, we want to focus on the projects that we have started, make sure that we take these projects to completion. Like the AKK pipeline, Train 7 is going to commence very soon. Of course, and then more importantly, we want to pass the PIB, which has defied passage for a long time now. So we believe that that will now be the enabler for investment in the sector. We would have laid the foundation for growth in the petroleum sector.
Addressing the critical infrastructure deficit remains a matter of priority for the Buhari administration towards enhancing the socio-economic development of the country. Billions of dollars or trillions of naira have been invested on power and roads development in all parts of the country, as well as new and existing national rail lines as vehicle towards rebuilding the economy.
The president summoned me and requested that he wanted to see what I want to do in railways. And since that meeting till today, we have been able to complete Lagos-Ibadan, completed. In fact, that's what brought me to the villa, to get a date that the president will come and commission it. The other thing we've completed, which looked like an albatross to the Ministry of Transport, was a Buhari rail line, which again we have completed. Commercial activities have commenced. In fact, that's gotten more review than any other one, because the young people who are there are saying that to get to Abuja now, it came down from 20-something thousand that they used to pay to 6,000. We intend to commence in this June, July, the construction of Kaduna-Kano and the construction of Port Harcourt-Maiduguri. As far as the railway is concerned, and that's which area that is matter, but every state capital is involved.
Leaders of the southeast geopolitical zone of the country had cause to pay solidarity visit to President Muhammadu Buhari to formally show appreciation for the unprecedented infrastructural development in the region, describing specifically the speed and quality of work on the second Niger Bridge project as fulfilling.
We thank you highly, Mr. President. I have always said that the second Niger Bridge has evolved from political statement to a reality, and we owe thanks to you, dear President. Similarly, we thank you for your approval and commitment in the development of Enyimba Industrial City, which is in Aba, Abia State. This project, when completed, will complement the talent of our people in their efforts on industrialization and trade.
In the area of security, as one of the major challenges confronting Nigeria, no one can deny the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari is sparing no effort at ensuring that the nefarious activities of insurgents, bandits, and kidnappers undermining national security and stability are brought to an end. For instance, in response to the deteriorating security situation, the nation's security architecture was rejigged with the appointment of new service chiefs.
I can tell you, with the emergence of the new service chief, within the short period I've worked with them, we've recorded a lot of successes. These are not things that I'm willing to come out and publicize, because there's a danger in doing that. But what I can assure Nigerians is that no country facing an asymmetric, unusual type of war, one that is unrelenting, one that is vicious, one that is immersed in a lot of emotional issues, can be overcome just by reliance on either government, traditional institutions, the general populace, or even foreign partners and alliances. It has to be a complete mosaic of all these actors working together to deal with these non-state actors.
The armed forces were not only reinforced and empowered with increased investment in arms and other critical platforms, but the morale of their personnel also got boosted, thereby rolling out the most significant response to Nigeria's multifaceted security challenges since 1999.
In as much as we have limited time, approximately 2 years, to deal with this issue, and of course, we have the burden of fulfilling a promise which we made to the people in 2015, that is securing the nation. From what I am seeing, from where I'm sitting, there's a lot that can be achieved within this limited period. But then we need the support and the cooperation of the wider society.
And following the resurgence of attacks in parts of the country, President Muhammadu Buhari summoned a crucial meeting of the National Security Council, which for the first time in history met 3 times in 11 days, where far-reaching measures were taken. These include subordinating all other national objectives and obligations until normalcy is fully restored in the security situation.
As far as I'm concerned, President Buhari has already discharged his own duties, his own obligation by giving taskings and responsibilities to all the agencies of government, giving them a clear time frame and guideline. That is one thing. The other thing is for these individual agencies, organizations, and entities to work towards achieving the task that President Buhari has already given them.
And as peace is gradually returning to the hitherto hostile areas, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and Social Development is doing what many describe as a splendid job in, amongst others, managing evolving humanitarian issues.
Mr. President has been very supportive. He understands that there are many challenges, and he keeps encouraging us to do our best. It's quite very worrisome that we are faced with all these kind of challenges, disasters here and then, man-made and natural. But that is the whole essence of creating this ministry. We're doing our best with the support we are getting from His Excellency, Mr. President. We're responsive. The poverty level in this country was between 60 to 70%. That has been reduced drastically to about 45% now. But Mr. President keeps on encouraging us to do more to bring it to a much more lower level. And that is what the ministry is focusing on.
The minister, Sadia Umar Farouk, also takes pride in the numerous achievements so far recorded in the implementation of the various national social investment programs.
We have a national social register that has over 20 million poor and vulnerable individuals that are registered. The other program is the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. There's a whole value chain created around this program. One is to increase enrollment of these children, to improve their nutrition, and then also to create wealth. And so far, we are feeding now about 10 million children. This is the first of its kind in the sub-Saharan Africa. His Excellency, Mr. President, has graciously approved an additional 5 million. So by the end of 2023, we are looking at about 15 million children that will be fed. So far, the Empower program has impacted on 550,000 that were exited last year. Now, Mr. President has graciously approved the expansion to be 1 million now for the year 2021 and beyond. And then even for the GIF, there's an additional 1 million. So far, we have 2.5 million beneficiaries of the GIF program.
In July last year, the Federal Executive Council approved the establishment of the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund to the tune of 75 billion naira. This is to cater specifically for Nigerian youth within the stipulated age of between 18 and 35 years.
It's meant to create a special window for accessing funds, credit facilities, and financing on the part of our youth that will help to fund their ideas, innovation, and also support their enterprise.
Also launched by the President is the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme, designed to create 774,000 jobs for the teeming unemployed Nigerian youth.
The expansion of the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme will now be vigorously pursued. More resources will be committed to the achievement of its goals and objectives towards youth empowerment and entrepreneurship development.
Empowering the youth for a prosperous Nigeria is the ultimate goal of the PES program initiated by the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Youth and Student Affairs.
From 1999, if I may say, to 2015, this office is mainly engaging young people, Nigerian youth, in terms of politics and others. But President Muhammadu Buhari changed the narrative. We can say a lot has been achieved in creating ways whereby Nigerian youth will have the skills that they need to acquire, and also to participate, as I said earlier, in the economic activities of the nation, which is key and very important.
Corruption and other economic crimes which had eaten deep into the fabric of the Nigerian society is perhaps the reason Nigerians yearned for President Muhammadu Buhari. The nation's anti-corruption agencies like the EFCC and ICPC never had it so good in the discharge of their mandates, especially in exposing and bringing to justice those who abuse public trust.
We understood that the tail end of every financial crime is for the criminal to have access to the funds that he or she have illegitimately gotten. And we are worried about the roles of financial institutions.
We've had a judicial milestone all the way to the Supreme Court that validates that we can do lifestyle audit. If you are living beyond your means, anti-corruption agencies can ask you questions. Clearly, that has been settled now.
The last 1.25 years is characterized by concerted efforts at containing and controlling the COVID-19 pandemic, which constitute a major setback in the nation's drive towards achieving sustainable growth and development. Although the Buhari presidency did not allow this to weaken its efforts at genuinely taking Nigeria to the next level of development, what more should Nigerians expect post-COVID-19?
I can tell you that Nigeria is going to be a great country. It is already on the path of it. It is being acknowledged internationally in different fora. The leadership that is being provided by President Muhammadu Buhari is a selfless leadership. It's a leadership that only looks for the good of Nigeria and Nigerians.
For President Muhammadu Buhari, every opportunity counts and must be utilized towards achieving public good through selflessness in service to the nation and humanity. This perhaps informed the recent defections of some political heavyweights, including governors from the major opposition party to the governing APC.
And that's not the end. I can tell you that there are going to be more defections. Before the end of the year, you will see more defections. I can authoritatively tell you that. I'm not a prophet, but I can foresee. Substantially, it's the style of leadership that is provided by President Muhammadu Buhari that is the most attractive thing.
President Muhammadu Buhari is without doubt providing leadership by example in the execution of his mandate for the past 6 years. His integrity, honesty, incorruptibility, and selfless disposition are well known to Nigerians. But those that have been closely relating with him believe that indeed there are a lot more that the people of this country do not know about him.
He is the one person I know that is devoted to Nigeria as a country above himself. Sometimes I joke with the president and I tell him that the problem he has is that he thinks everybody is like him, because he gives everybody the opportunity to express himself, expecting that they will do the right thing. And that is the quintessential President Buhari that I know. And once you take anything to the president and he sees that it is within the law and it is in the interest of Nigerians, you have no problem with it.
He's a compassionate leader. He's a God-fearing man. I don't know any president that has served Nigeria that has not asked for any form of favor from his lieutenants, except President Muhammadu Buhari. The only favor he has asked me for is to represent him. And he will do it in such a humane way. And now you'll be wondering that this is the president. All he needs to do is to ask me to go and represent him. Why is he asking me in such a manner? That is the level of humility he exhibits, even in his leadership as the president of Nigeria.
Beneath his calm exterior, there is an intensity. He's a very, very deliberate person. He's not given to frivolities. I see President Buhari as a hardcore realist.
With these insights, expectations are that Nigerians are not only informed, but will indeed appreciate better the leadership being provided by President Muhammadu Buhari as he sustains efforts at bequeathing a better Nigeria in the remaining 2 years of his administration.